Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Roland and we're here to talk all things Tesla Model Y. So, overnight, Car Expert and a couple of other media outlets essentially published the fact that the new Model Y is coming without the launch series stuff, and I think it was roughly around midday that they actually made the website go live, or they refreshed the website to ensure that you can actually make the orders right now. So guys, if you are interested in buying a Tesla, feel free to use my referral code. I'll put it down below for you guys. It means that you guys get a little bit of cash off, and hopefully that savings goes towards, I guess, you enjoying the car. Anyway, so what I want to do in terms of the structure of this video, I want to go through the website, I want to take you guys through what you get there, and then I've got some stats and numbers of what you used to get as a part of the launch series, so I want to dedicate a little bit of a section in that side of things, and then hopefully if it is the car for you and it is something that you want to buy, then of course go for gold. Just make sure, as I said, use the referral code down below to save extra money. Alright, so let's jump straight into the website. So you can see here, this is basically the new Model Y website, and you can see over here that in New South Wales, rear-wheel drive pricing is $58,900 and the long-range all-wheel drive is $68,900, so $10,000 difference. So go through comparing the trims in a moment, but that's basically the base spec in white color. Now, how much difference is it really? So the difference between the rear-wheel drive and the long-range all-wheel drive is essentially $10,000 that you can see there, but the difference between both variants to the launch series was about $4,500. So the $4,500 we will cover off in a moment around the differences, but before we even get to that, let's actually look at the difference in the trims and what you actually get before we even look at the launch series comparison. So let's look at comparing trims. So if I click on this bit here, they've made it really nice and easy for you guys to understand. Pricing, of course, here, both vehicles at this point in time are saying they're available June. So what does that mean? Previously, the launch series they said was going to be available May. So realistically, 4 weeks, 1 month difference based on when it's going to come here. So, you know, the people with launch series, realistically, they're going to be the first ones that are driving it around for roughly up to a month, and then everyone else is going to join them. Okay, so let's jump to the first bit here. So the first key difference here is, of course, the range. So WLTP rating, 466 versus 551 kilometers there. The other obvious one here is the acceleration. With all-wheel drive, the car is 1.1 second faster to 100 kilometers per hour. This one here is a big one, audio. So in the entry level, you've got 9 speakers, whereas you've got 15 speakers and 1 subwoofer in the long-range all-wheel drive. The wheels look like they're exactly the same with the same options as well. Supercharging looks like with the battery type or battery chemistry, from what I've read, this one here on the left, which is the rear-wheel drive, is LFP, and the long-range all-wheel drive is NMC. In 15 minutes, average charge difference is almost roughly 40 something to 50, almost 50 kilometers difference in terms of supercharging. Further to that, you've got interior differences around the trims. So you'll see that the long-range all-wheel drive, you've got premium materials for black interior and textile door trims. That is pretty much all of the differences between the rear-wheel drive and the long-range all-wheel drive. All of the new stuff in this new Model Y, you actually do get across the range. For instance, what I mean by that is like power two-way folding and heated seats. So it is powered now. You get that across all ranges for this car. You've got the bigger front touchscreen, which was gone from 15-inch to 15.4 inch. You also get the second 8-inch touchscreen in the second row. Apparently you've got better suspension, fantastic thing, and really look forward to testing this one. You've also got the new front-facing camera and a couple of other things that you get that I feel like isn't as much of a difference, but a lot of the stuff that's new in this car, they have kept it across both ranges, which is fantastic. But scrolling back up the top here, it seems like the key things, if you guys are tossing up between both variations, obviously being rear-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive is a little faster. If you really care about your audio, then potentially you may want to opt in for the long-range all-wheel drive with 15 speakers and 1 subwoofer. And that's probably the key things, because other than that, charging side of things, in 15 minutes, 238 to 283. Look, for me personally, I don't feel like that is such a major difference, because realistically it might be all the difference of charging for 1 extra minute to get to the same charge speeds. Then the wheels, they're literally the same depending on which option you get, so it's not so much of a major thing. And then really it comes down to the driving. So do you guys like a rear-wheel drive car versus an all-wheel drive car? Do you need the traction? Those are some things that you guys need to take into consideration. Anyways, that is enough of comparing the trims. What I now want to talk to is pricing. So as you guys can see here for the rear-wheel drive, and again this here I'm doing a comparison for private ownership registered in New South Wales, Australia, and these are the costs down the bottom on the right hand side. So at $58,900, drive away in New South Wales is just over $64,000. What did we previously have in terms of the Model Y in the launch series? So when we actually had the new one come up with the launch series, the drive away price, well actually let's start off with the rear wheel drive price. So I said it was about $4,500 difference. So from $58,900, the figure here when the launch series was available was $63,400. Drive away, as I said here, is just over $64,000. The drive away price back then for the launch series was $68,770. Now, key differences, if I actually scroll down, comes down to color. So if you guys are to choose any of these colors, so remember this is just on the rear-wheel drive, Glacier Blue is $2,300, Stealth Grey is $2,300, Quicksilver is $2,600, and Ultra Red is $2,600. You'll see that right now you've got the 19-inch cross-flow wheels, which is this variant over here. The ones that were included as a part of the launch series actually were these 20-inch helix wheels. The interior, you always had the choice between black and white, and it was always a $1,500 option. So for comparison's sake, I will keep it on black because that was exactly the same. And you didn't get any of these options in the rear-wheel drive. So what does that mean in terms of pricing and the comparison from launch series to now? So don't forget, first of all, the launch series did cover off pretty much badging, some lighting differences. For the puddle lights, you've got badging on the back of the car, you've got badging on the inside of the car, and you've got the scuff plate as well that's marked in launch series. And so what does that actually mean? So what it actually means is, if you were to get a launch series back then, they didn't charge for any of the additional colors. So it was that flat price of $68,770. If we're looking at rear-wheel drive now, if we're looking at white with the 20-inch wheels, because that's the wheels that it had, it's $66,594. So we're looking at $68,770 versus $66,594. So it's roughly a $2,000 something difference. What you don't get between this launch series and this one, based on everything that I've shown you guys so far, is the badging and of course the puddle lights as well. So if that's something that you guys really cared about, then of course you may want to potentially look for a used one if it comes out, if that's what you really care about. But if you're talking about purely price, then using white as the color and trying to match them like for like, you'd be about $2,100 odd ahead. So you'd be saving that much without the badging, of course. Now, as soon as you choose a different color, you will see that the price goes to just above $69,000 between Stealth Grey and Glacier Blue. And then Quicksilver, it goes to $69,324. And remember, I'll keep across the top here as we go the original drive away price for the launch series in rear-wheel drive. And so, as I said, Glacier Blue, Stealth Grey, just over $69,000, and then $69,324 for Quicksilver and Ultra Red, which puts this above the original price for the launch series. So all in all, the summary is, if you guys wanted to definitely save money and you're expecting to pay less than what the launch series was, then what you need to get is one of two things. You need to either get the base color white, or you switch the wheels to the crossflow so that it actually does have a bigger impact on your bank account, which means you save more, and that's always a good thing. If you guys wanted to get any of the other colors and you wanted to match, you realistically are paying more than what the original launch series was. So that's the summary for the rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y comparison between launch series and the non-launch series. So I'll click back to white and 19-inch crossflows. Let's jump up to long-range all-wheel drive. So long-range all-wheel drive, $68,900. As I said, it's about $4,500 cheaper than the long range based on current spec. The drive-away price here is $74,574. And so let's start to have a look at what that means in terms of pricing compared to the launch series that has just been taken off the website. So $68,900, so the $4,500 difference is $73,400 for the launch series. Drive-away price was $79,270. Now for this section, since we're talking about the long range all drive, I'll leave that drive-away price at the top of the screen, $79,270, so that you guys can see how much money we're saving or not saving as we're kind of working through this exercise. So using white as the base color, $74,574 versus $79,270 for the long range all-wheel drive. In white, of course, for this one. What does that mean? That means we're saving just under $5,000, so $4,000 something dollars. Right, so at least $4,000 you're saving if you wanted to buy a long range and you want it in the base white with the normal wheels, nothing else. $4,000 something straight up savings. So that's fantastic. Now, let's do a like-for-like comparison, shall we? So let's start off with the wheels. It pushes it up to $77,094. So now we're just about $2,000 savings if you're still happy with the white. Right, now as soon as you jump into another color, $79,509. So you're about just under $300 already paying more for this non-launch series. And again, it's the same price for Stealth Grey. And then when you jump into Quicksilver or Ultra Red, it's $79,824, which means you're almost around $600 more than what the launch series was previously. The one thing they haven't mentioned explicitly that we don't know how much it's going to potentially be in the future is that with the long range all-wheel drive, you guys actually do get the acceleration boost as well. And so previously, from memory, acceleration boost was valued at roughly about $4,000 off the top of my head. And so depending on what color or variation you pick, you technically need to bake that into the mix as well. So if you wanted to spec out the car to be exactly the same as what it was, realistically, the launch series would have been a fantastic buy if you're basing it on dollar value. So what does that mean? That also means that the price that they've reduced between the launch series and non-launch series is not enough. Again, my personal opinion, right? Look, whatever you guys think, I'm more than happy to have the discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Is the difference enough or not? But let's finish the rest of the comparison over here. So if we're talking about 19-inch cross-flow wheels and you're going base white, see, it's $74,574. As I said, it's $79,270. Even if you add acceleration boost onto this base model long-range all-wheel drive, and by base I mean you're not changing colors, you're not changing the wheels or the seats, it's pretty much exactly the same, almost quite similar cost, bear in mind, give or take a couple of $100 between the launch series and the non-launch series. So as I said, for this one here, I also have kept the interior out black because even in the launch series, it was a $1,500 option. So that essentially covers the entire comparison. So let me give you guys a short summary just in case you guys felt like that was too much to follow. So first of all, between the launch series and the non-launch series, there's $4,500 difference. Now this is before adding on-road costs. So adding on-road costs, it's roughly $4,600 something dollars. For argument's sake, let's look at just the car before on-road costs, which what we're seeing is at least $4,500 difference. That's the figure we're working with. Now, what you don't get in both variations from the launch series to non-launch series in terms of actual tangible things is the badging that was around the car that signified it was launch series. You had some scuff plates that had designations stating it was launch series, same with underneath the charging pad, badge on the boot. I may have said that. You also have the 20-inch Helix wheels, and then in the long-range all-wheel drive, you also had acceleration boost. So that's what you're not getting. Then, based on that $4,500 savings, if we're going to call it that, because you're not buying the launch series, that figure starts to drop and that starts to decrease, or the gap starts to close down in terms of your savings if you start to choose the 20-inch wheels and if you start to choose the difference in colors. So, and then also for the long range all-wheel drive, there's no cost. See, if I scroll down here, there is no cost over here yet for the acceleration boost, but that's also something you need to take into account. So really, at best case scenario, in a full summary, you guys are saving, and this is assuming you're buying the car, you are saving $4,500, assuming you get the white, exactly like what you see on screen, whether it's rear-wheel drive or long-range all-wheel drive. And the stuff that you lose out essentially is all the badging and stuff, and then for the long-range all-wheel drive, you also lose the acceleration boost. So that is the summary. I'm not going to hold you guys up for anything longer. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop it in the comments below. If you guys are looking at buying a Model Y, first of all, congratulations on your decision. Make sure you do use my referral code, which I'll drop below. I totally appreciate it, guys. And yeah, if you felt like this helped, give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more content, and we'll see you soon for more.